To you all. Thank you,
We're
Michaela.
seeing lots of enthusiastic
Thank you, Allie.
yeses.
Good.
Excellent.
Thank you, Isabella. Oh,
Perfect. All right. Thanks, y'all. We're going to close the group chat for now.
We will be using the group chat later on when we ask for questions, but we are going to get started introducing ourselves. We are happy to have you all here helping you get packed and prepared for residential living. My name is Joelle Talaferro. I'm one of the associate directors for Residential Life. I oversee the quad, which is where you all will be living this upcoming fall as first-year students.
And my name is Josh Alexander. I'm the Senior Associate Director of Residential Life and Housing. So I oversee all of our resident assistant recruitment, selection, and training, which will tell you a little bit about what that is, as well as any of our behavioral response to policies within the residence halls. All right, so for our overview today, we're going to be talking to you about what to bring to campus as well as what not to bring to campus, some of our residence hall policies. We're going to also share with you some of the resources that we have within the halls, as well as who our staff members are. And then we'll talk to you briefly about room assignments, because we know that's a question that's on many of your minds. And then we're going to share some really helpful information for you to prepare for the actual move-in day.
So we're going to start by talking about what to bring to campus. When you are packing your boxes and thinking of what you should bring, here are a few things to know. We have furnished rooms, so you don't have to bring your big comfy bed. We have got your back. You will have an extra long twin bed and mattress, so make sure that you get the appropriate bedwear and sheets. You'll have a desk and a chair. And for clothing storage, there will definitely be some type of closet or wardrobe space, as well as a dresser or drawer space. One thing that I recommend if you're thinking about extra storage is you don't necessarily need to buy those under bed storage items. Wait until you get here to see if you have space for them, because some of our beds have the drawers underneath of your bed. So you may not have the space to put those underbed storage items. So you can always make a quick run once you're in the city and get things that you need later on. One thing that's really important to remember about the furniture is that it all has to stay in your room. So whatever you have when you move in needs to be there. And if you are missing a bed, a mattress, a desk or a chair or wardrobe or drawers, which you shouldn't be when you move in, but just in case, please let us know, and you'll be able to communicate with your RA, who you'll learn more about later on, to make sure that we are aware of those situations. Visit our housing options page for pictures, so you can get a better view of what the different types of housing rooms look like and offer you. So things to bring: bedding. You want to have the extra long twin sheets, bedding, a comforter, pillows, etc. Anything that will make you comfortable and make your place feel like home. You're going to need towels, laundry items like a basket, detergent, and iron, etc. Flip-flops and a shower caddy. You will be sharing your residence hall bathroom on the floor, and so you want to make sure that you have flip-flops so that you can keep your feet clean and respect the space that everyone else has, since you're going to be in a shared space, and something that you can transport your bathroom items with in the shower caddy back and forth from your room to the restroom. And an emergency kit is always something that's good to have. We don't offer those in the spaces, but of course we have our public safety and CU EMS to support you if there are any emergencies. We always recommend that people get renter's insurance. This is going to be helpful if there's ever a flood or something unexpected happens in your space. When you sign your housing agreement, you are agreeing that you're responsible for your personal items. So renter's insurance is something that's really good to have as a backup to support you in case anything out of the ordinary goes wrong, as sometimes things happen when you're living in a residence hall. Additional things to bring are electrical items that are UL listed. You can see that little icon on the page. That's what you want on your surge protectors. If you need additional electronic sockets, you need a surge protector that is UL listed. This is really important to prevent any fires or any electrical surges that could damage either your electrical items or the outlet itself. And we have RAs who do health and safety inspections. They're going to be making sure that those wires are UL listed. So to avoid any issues when that time comes, make sure that you move in with that from the start. You will need your own cleaning supplies. Unfortunately, we don't have folks who come through to your personal room, so you will need to bring cleaning supplies to support your clean and tidy space. Decorations to make it feel like home, desk supplies, a refrigerator if you would like it. The maximum allowed size is a 3.5 cubic meter, and you can Google and make sure that it fits that requirement. Storage containers, once again, thinking about whether or not you're going to have underbed storage or not. You'll be able to look online to see pictures and determine if your space has that, or you can wait until you move in. And a vacuum. So some of the rooms are carpeted, but some are not. And so you want to make sure that you have what you need to keep that space clean. We have a website that you can visit, barnard.edu/reslife/new students/what to bring. And this is really helpful just to give you a more extensive list of things that are useful to you. So feel free to screenshot this page or copy and paste.
Excellent. And I'm going to talk about what not to bring to campus. So I will be sharing with you a list of our most common prohibited items where we've had issues that have come up, but I'll share a website at the very end, so don't feel like you have to take notes on everything. But for our prohibited items, unfortunately, you cannot bring your own air conditioner window or portable units. If you are living in Sulzberger Hall, they do have central air conditioning within that building. Our other residence halls, Reed and Brooks, for our first year students, you will not have air conditioning. So please do not bring those units. We will make you take them right back. Pets, we only permit you to have fish in a 5-gallon tank, or if you have an approved service or support animal that you've worked with the Office of Disability Services to get all of the paperwork to allow that animal to be on campus. We do not allow pressure cookers, deep fryers, hot plates, toasters, or anything with an open coil heating unit. We also are not allowed to have candles or incense within the residence halls, as well as hookahs, vaporizers, or electronic cigarettes. Even though many of you will likely not be of age in our first year area, you are not permitted to have empty alcohol bottles of any kind, even for decoration, as well as shot glasses, flasks, or other alcohol containers. Drugs and weapons are also prohibited. And then we also prohibit you bringing any non-college provided furniture or mattresses into your room. Space within our rooms are really tight as is. And also we can't control what you're bringing in terms of whether there's concern for bed bugs or other things, so we do not permit any outside furniture or mattresses. As I mentioned, we have a full website that lists all of these items, so you can go to barnard.edu/reslife/policies/prohibited-items for the full comprehensive list on our website.
We're going to talk a little bit now about our residence hall policies. We want to make sure that you all are prepared to abide by them and have a foundational knowledge coming in for the things that are expected of you when you're living on campus. The main policies we're going to cover here are quiet hours, guests, prohibited items, and alcohol and drugs. There are additional policies that we expect you all to abide by, which you'll review extensively with your RA when you move in, as well as have access to on our website. So quiet hours. We have 24 courtesy hours, which means that we expect you all to be respectful of the other people on the floor. And if you are a little bit loud or causing a disturbance and someone reaches out to you, we ask that you respect the fact that you may be disrupting people in the hall. The walls are thin enough for folks to hear just everyday noise, but just think about how you're conducting yourself on the floor and give that courtesy to the people around you. Specific quiet hours are in effect from 11 p.m. to 9 a.m. Sunday through Thursday. So those are are weekdays or days before class. And on Friday and Saturday nights, it's from 1 a.m. to 10 a.m. And during this time, you may have a more strict guideline around how to maintain your level of quiet. It's not just an everyday situation where you're giving courtesy to one another, but you should really be paying attention to how your level of noise and how it's impacting the rest of the community. Guest policy is another piece that we want to bring up that comes up a lot in our residence halls. All guests who you have visiting must have a valid ID, so that's a state ID or a picture ID that can help identify them. There is a 3 guest limit per person. So for that, the total person room limit, including residents, is 5 for a double, 7 for a triple, and 9 for a quad. You can have guests for no more than 3 consecutive nights, and you can have guests for 6 nights out of 30 days. And your guests must be escorted at all times, including leaving the building. So when you sign your guests in, you should be the person escorting them out and signing them out upon their departure. Also, just wandering the halls and such, you shouldn't have guests who are unattended. So you're going places with them, they're your guests, and we expect that you're hosting them for the entirety of their stay. Guests who are between the ages of 13 and 16 years old are allowed to be on campus, but with a minor permission form. So anyone under 13 must be accompanied by a parent or guardian and will not have the opportunity to stay overnight. The minor permission form is something that you can access on our website, and there are guidelines around how soon it should be filled out prior to your guest staying. So make sure that you are looking for that if you plan to have maybe a younger sibling, cousin, friend stay over who is between the ages of 13 and 16. Prohibited items, so this goes along with the things not to bring to campus or the way that you should be conducting if you do have these items. So bicycles, they need to be stored in your room. We aren't allowed to have bicycles hanging out in the hallway or anything of that nature. That's not to say that you can't have them, but you need to have them in your space and also come to an agreement with your roommate about how and where that bike will be stored. Candles, incense, and open flames are strictly prohibited, so please do not bring them to campus. We know they smell great and they're enjoyable, but there are ways to enjoy the same situation without actually bringing those open flame or candles or incense into the space. There's a lot of great artificial candles that have the nice flicker and the good scent, so feel free to seek those out before coming to campus. And electrical equipment, like we mentioned before, must be UL approved and have an on-off switch. Extension cords are prohibited, and power strips must be surge protected. This is really important for the safety of our community. So when you are potentially shopping or gathering items from home, check to make sure that all of these pieces are abided by. And lastly, alcohol and drugs. For the most part, all of our first year students will be under the age to drink on campus. And so we are expecting that you are not participating in any consumption of alcohol or drugs. So possession or use of alcohol or possession of use or misuse of illicit drugs, prescription medication, synthetic substances, or other intoxicating substances are in violation of our drug or alcohol policy. Being in the presence of drug or alcohol is a violation. And so if you are not of age, then you shouldn't be in a vicinity where there is alcohol, and you definitely should not be in the vicinity of drugs. Public intoxication, regardless of age, is an alcohol policy violation. Possession of empty alcohol containers, as we mentioned, you cannot have them in your space even as use of decoration. Possession or participation in activities that facilitate rapid, dangerous, and or forced consumption of alcohol, like drinking games, are not promoted on campus and should not be happening in the residence hall. Possession of drugs or smoking devices and paraphernalia are not accepted in the residence hall. Distribution of alcohol, drugs, or intoxicants are not accepted in the residence hall. And of course, delivery of alcohol to a residence hall. If you were to have a package that looks like there is alcohol in it, it would be returned to the sender. So make sure that you review these policies and that you are aware of what is and is not accepted.
So we have what we refer to as our student conduct process, which is the process that oversees any and all of our policies and procedures within the residence halls. So our staff conduct routine inspections to ensure the safety and security of all of our residence halls. If they are inspecting your room for our community safety inspections and they see a prohibited item, it will be confiscated. We also conduct evening rounds daily within our residence halls. And if any of our RAs, whether they're on duty conducting rounds or they're made aware of a potential policy violation, they will be addressing it. So just to give you a little bit of context, our staff, our RAs in particular, resident assistants or RAs, which we'll talk in a moment about what that exactly is, they are required to document any student that's found in an alleged violation of a policy. The RAs are not the individuals who make the determination concretely if a policy was violated, they just document for us. We, the professional staff members of our residence halls within Barnard, do the follow-up. So you might be documented for something that we can clarify in a meeting that you weren't actually violating a policy. So just keep that in mind. If you receive a letter that indicates that you were documented for something, that means that we're going to have a meeting to discuss your perspective of the incident before a decision is made. So that's referred to as a conduct meeting within our conduct process. So that's all of our staff will do the follow-up for students so that the RAs who are your peers are not both addressing the violation and telling you what the outcome is. We want to separate that since they are your peers and Barnard students as well.
Speaking of your RAs, we want to start with them as your hall resources and staff. So to introduce what an RA or a resident assistant is, we have 56 RAs on campus here at Barnard, and they are fellow students and peers who live in the residence hall and oversee a group of students who we call residents. These people who are hard workers, they have put in a lot of time and effort to be trained to support you in any way that you may need, whether that is helping you adjust to your experience here at Barnard or supporting you in a moment of distress or crisis. They're really your first on-site, on-hand person for emergencies. They perform nightly community walks and serve on call for emergencies. And they also are community builders. So they're people who provide programs and who provide a shoulder to lean on when you are adjusting to your experience at Barnard. And they're your first line of duty when trying to understand what it's like living in the residence hall and get the support that you need from the larger Barnard community. So there's a lot of things you can go to for your RA, and they're definitely the person who we often direct our students to when you are experiencing any difficulty or need any additional support with the residential experience. They're definitely your first point of contact. So you can rely on them for a lot and also learn from them and learn how to navigate the experience that is Barnard from your RA. The next line of support from the Residential Life Office is the hall director. Barnard has 9 hall directors who are graduate students in the New York City area. They also live in the residence hall and they supervise the RAs. So hall directors are students who are very familiar with Barnard based off of their employment here, but they may not have gone to Barnard, and so they're supporting the RAs who have that great insight that you might be looking for when coming here for the first time. They also follow up with students on policy violations in the conduct process that Josh just mentioned, and they may address any concerns students have with living on campus. In regards to our professional staff, we have 3 support staff members who work in our main residential life office, which is located in Sulzberger, part of the quad where you'll be living. That is Lori Diggs, who is our housing operations assistant. Velma Joseph is our residential life assistant. And Jody is our assistant to the executive director. We have 2 associate directors for residential life, myself, Joelle Talafero, and Lizeth Jaramillo, who is our associate director for off quad. The ADs supervise the hall directors and the RAs and meet with students to address and resolve concerns living on campus. We have an associate director for housing, which is Matt Kingston. Matt works to create the housing assignments. He is the person working really hard this summer to help place all of you in your upcoming housing. And he also oversees all of our billing and office technology. We have a senior associate director who is Josh, my colleague here today. Josh oversees all of the conduct policies and procedures within our residence halls, manages all of the RA recruitment, selection, and training, and supervises the associate directors for residential life. Our executive director, Alicia Lawrence, oversees the entire department and serves as a liaison for Res Life for the rest of the college. Programming in our halls is something that we really pride ourselves on and is a huge passion for our office. You will see in our programming throughout the academic year that we program to our 4 pillars, which are community engagement, both within your residence hall, on your floor, and in the larger community, social justice, life learning, and health and wellness. We have different types of programs that RAs will be putting on, as well as our department, which include passive, like bulletin boards, reaching out via email, and giving you those cute little notes on your door that just perk you up and give you a moment of inspiration and motivation. Active, so programs where they're asking you to come out and enjoy time together. Building wides for the entire community. And FYF, the first year focus specific programs, which support your first year and how to adjust and manage the processes at Barnard, as well as SX, which will support you in your senior year and helping you make the transition out of Barnard, as well as celebrate all of your achievements here.
So we want to talk to you a little bit about room assignments, which we know is a question on a couple of your minds. So all first year students are going to get their room assignments on Saturday, August 4th. So mark that date on your calendar. A couple things that we want to mention though about getting to know your new roommate. So you're moving to a new place and you're living with people that are new, and that's not always easy, but Joelle just gave a fabulous overview of all the resources that you have within the residence halls that will help you set a strong foundation and have great communication with your new roommate is a really integral part of this. So we have a couple recommendations. The first is to actually introduce yourself and talk to them. So I would recommend some sort of phone call situation or FaceTime or Skype or video chat or something, not just leaving it to text or email. It's so important for you to really talk to them and get to know the individual that you're going to be living with. The biggest recommendation that we can give is please don't try to get to know your new roommate or roommates via social media. As we all know, we have our best Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter lives and Snapchat, and we put our best self out there, or we put the image that we want the world to see that is not always our most authentic self. So please do not go digging through someone's social media and make assumptions on who you think they might be. Get to know them. They might surprise you. So introduce yourself, make sure that you are being yourself in those conversations. Don't make assumptions. And my biggest recommendation personally, I've been working with students living in residence halls for over 10 years. I meet with students all the time who say that they really wanted to live with their best friend. I think that's actually what you don't want. I want to live with somebody who I can live well with. And so it might not be that the person that you're living with is your best friend for the rest of your life, but there's somebody that is compatible for you in terms of when you wake up, when you go to sleep, the noise that you do or don't need to be able to study, whether a TV or computer screen is on or off. There's so many different compatibility things, whether the room is clean or not fully tidy, that it's so important that you find an individual that you can resonate and work well with. So I think if you come in with the expectation that this is going to be your best friend for life and you're going to do everything and hang out all the time together, that might not be the most reasonable expectation. We work with all of our first year students to set a roommate contract with your new roommate. So this is where you're able to talk about the things that I just mentioned. When the lights go on or off, what does music look like? Is our room going to be a more social environment? Is it going to be a more quiet environment? How clean do we need to keep it? How messy are we allowed to keep it? What about guests? Who's allowed to come over? How often should they come over? certainly within the parameters of the guest policy that Joelle mentioned. But many of our students will say, you know, I don't want us to have guests, or it's fine for siblings or significant others to come over. So making sure that you're having those conversations and utilize the resources that you have within the residence halls to help you navigate that new relationship. In terms of move-in day, we've got some information now, and you'll receive a lot of information as the weeks are leading to move-in. But you will move in based on your floor assignments. So within the quad, for Sulzberger, Reed, and Brooks halls, there will be times designated based on what floor you live in. So make sure that this information will go out again, but make sure that you remember in your head, depending on what floor that dictates when you come. So if you're on the 7th and 8th floors, you'll arrive to check in between 8 and 9 a.m. 5th and 6th floors are between 9 and 10. 3rd and 4th are between 10 and 11. And 2nd floor residents come between 11 and noon. It's really important that once you get your floor assignment that you stick to these parameters. We will not allow students to move in outside of this time frame, so you'll need to plan accordingly. The other thing is, based on where you live, we will have unloading zones for you. We have fantastic orientation leaders who come onto campus to greet you for your arrival and get you settled and help you acclimate during the week between move-in and classes. And so they get up exceptionally early on the day that you're moving in, and they will make physical boxes on the sidewalk and chalk for you to unload your car. So based on which residence hall you live in, we have these 3 color zones that help ease based on, we'll do the behind the scenes work, but we'll guide you to different sets of elevators based on where you live to help make it a really smooth moving in process. So please, once you learn which residence hall you're living in, this map will be on our website. Look to the color coding to know approximately where to unload your items.
Some recommendations that we have for you for move-in day. First and foremost, come at your scheduled time. It's going to be a lot easier if you are transitioning with less people at a time that you are scheduled for. And if you notice, we have you moving in from the top down. So it will be easier for you to be moving into the elevator and going to the same floors as the folks who are also going to 7 and 8 if you're moving in first. So we do that to make it easier for you and to make it easier for us to support you. So please do your best to come at your scheduled time. We will have carts on hand to support our students moving in, but it can go a little bit faster if you bring your own hand carts. So if you have them, feel free to bring them along. Here's some examples of what you could bring that might be helpful. Even a little wagon could help you out. We could stuff all those pillows and blankets right in there. So whatever works for you, but do know we will have resources. There might just be a little bit of a wait, and we'll make sure that you get in there in a timely fashion. We also recommend that you come excited. Let your parents be there taking videos of you, your family members cheering you on, and we'll also have our staff, orientation leaders and RAs there with big open arms cheering and welcoming you. We're really excited to have you on this day and through your Barnard experience. So come at your scheduled time, come with a smile, rain or shine, we'll be there to welcome you. Big Barnard welcome.
All right, so that is all that we have prepared. So we are going to, hopefully we can navigate this to pull up the chat bar. So if you have questions specifically that you wanted to ask, feel free to type them in. We have a little bit of time allocated where we can answer any pressing questions that people have. We might not be able to get to all of them, but we will do our best. I have found that there's a question that probably everyone has, and it's okay to be the first to break the ice and ask the question. Is it okay to use command strips on the wall? So we want for everybody to be able to decorate the residence halls in a way that feels comfortable for you. We highly recommend exclusive use of blue masking tape that's like the painter's tape. It's a light blue color. That is what we know will make the least damage to the walls. So we want to make sure that you're using that exclusively for as you're hanging things.
We have the question, are closed coil electric kettles allowed? Yes, they are, as long as there is not a exposed hot coil or a hot plate. And it has to have an on-off switch. So you want the type of kettle that as soon as it's done boiling or it reaches a certain temperature, it turns off. You're welcome.
Are plates and bowls provided in the common room kitchens? They are not. So you will want to make sure that you are bringing whatever you would like to use for those common kitchens. So we just provide the true basics in terms of having a stove to be able to cook on. Many of our students find, since all of our first year students are required to be on the full meal plan, very few of them end up bringing their own things to cook because there's plenty of food provided within your meal plan. However, some people like to bring things to be able to make late night snacks or that sort of thing. So you'll want to make sure that you're bringing everything that you would need. So including pots and pans and stuff, you would need to bring all of that for yourselves.
How necessary are plastic containers for food? I like to say that living in New York City, I just want to be 100% certain that the food that I also live in the residence hall. So the food that I have that is open, I like to be as secure as possible for the sake of we live in a city and I want my space to be as clean as possible and as secure. And I obviously want my food to be to last as long as possible. So personally, I do plastic containers, but I also do mason jars for things like sugar and my rice and things that are open, but I'm not going to be using as regularly or eating within the next couple days. So I definitely recommend going with, more secure containers to store your food rather than just having open bags of food.
This question is which of the residence halls have air conditioning? Sulzberger is the residence hall that has air conditioning. And the first year students live in Sulzberger, Reed, and Brooks. We have found that I've been at Barnard for 4 years now. Most of the main heat comes like right now through August. So by the time that y'all get here, it's usually not been nearly as hot and humid as it has been. We also have found that if there is a hot first week or two, make a best friend in Sulzberger, hang out over there. Students who live in Sulzberger end up being pretty popular the first couple of weeks for the air. All of our common rooms are in Sulzberger, so that is one nice thing. So for the kitchens and the common spaces that has some seating in there, that is air conditioned as well.
We had a question about what kind of appliances are in the common kitchens. We have a refrigerator, and if you want to use the refrigerator, you should be labeling your food with your room number and your name, and obviously upkeeping that food, and just know it's still in a public space, so it could be touched or tampered with. So you want to be as safe as possible with leaving stuff in that fridge. There is a microwave and a stove and oven.
So we got a question about, like, is it okay or feasible for both roommates to have a refrigerator? We would recommend that you work that out on your own to figure out only one of you to bring it. As we mentioned, space is so limited, and you also want to make sure that you're not putting too many large appliances for the electricity of the building. We also got another question which excites me in terms of the application process to be an RA. So we'll send all that information out for our students. We do our recruitment towards the end of the fall semester in terms of the application usually is submitted right before you leave for winter break. And then we do the interviews starting at the beginning of the spring semester, and we generally send out offer letters by the end of February. So a lot of information will come on that. I promise there's a large recruitment effort and you can't miss it. Another great question that came up is in regards to laundry. So we're really excited to be working with a new vendor this year. We're going to have brand new washing and drying machines in all of our residence halls. The other really exciting thing is that we've been working to provide the best technology for that within our spaces. And so once all of the machines are fully installed, you'll be able to pay directly with a credit or debit card to the machine, which will be really nice to not have to carry around coins or change or that sort of thing. We don't know all of the exact logistics yet because they've not been installed yet. So as we know the final information, we can send an update and share that information. But there'll be brand new machines with more accessible technology for payment. So that's exciting. Are there any other questions that have come up?
We have a question. Are we allowed to bring a mattress topper? Yes, you are. You can definitely bring anything that would make it comfortable for you or more comfortable. Once again, it's an extra large twin, so making sure that you have something that fits that style for you. I was someone who was always down for like the pillow top and the foam and the mattress cover. It was like my comfy haven.